Dear Patriots, please subscribe to our patriotic channel. Like and share this video so your friends can see it. Thank you. Breaking, President Trump orders airstrike. Look, WHO we hit Baghdad, Iraq. The US-led coalition has carried out an airstrike against the border region with Iraq and Syria's southern Asaka in an attempt to arrest Islamic State's supreme leader, according to Syrian local sources. The airstrike, according to Syrian media channels, was carried out early on Thursday against the border strip with Iraq to arrest Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Heavy shooting occurred in the region. The U.S. coalition troops managed to arrest a prominent IS leader, the sources said, without confirming if the troops arrested Baghdadi or if the arrested militant managed to run away, Iraqi news reports. Earlier this month, Iraqi security said Baghdadi is likely to be hiding in Syrian region near borders with Iraq. And in Baghdad, Iraqi warplanes carried out an airstrike on an Islamic State IS command center inside Syria, the Joint Operations Command was quoted as saying Monday, Iraqi news reports. Acting on intelligence reports, the Iraqi F-16 warplanes destroyed a building used by the IS group as a command and logistics support center in southern al-Dishisha area in Syria, the command said in a statement. The air raid was launched upon directives by Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi, the statement read. No further details were given, but the center said more information about the result of the airstrike will be released later. The Iraqi Air Force has already carried out several airstrikes against Islamic State in Syria since last year, with the approval of the Syrian government of President Bashar Assad and the US-led coalition fighting ISIS. Iraq had previously announced launching airstrikes against IS locations in Syria. This came after Abadi said security troops will follow IS militants in the whole region, not only in Iraq. Islamic State continues to launch sporadic attacks across Iraq against troops. Security reports indicate that the militant group still poses threat against stability in the country. Thousands of Islamic State militants as well as Iraqi civilians were killed since the government campaign, backed by paramilitary troops, and the coalition was launched in October 2016 to fight the militant group, which declared a self-styled caliphate from Mosul in June 2014. God bless. Dean James III Right-Wing Tribune. Dear Patriots, please subscribe to our patriotic channel. Like and share this video so your friends can see it. Thank you. Breaking, bombshell new report has Obama in full panic mode. As part of an Obama administration plan to arm moderate forces in Syria, United States military equipment and ammunition went instead to ISIS terrorist forces. The man who said he himself brokered the deal, simply handed over everything to an al-Qaeda group. I communicated with al-Qaeda's branch, al-Nusra, to protect and safely escort me and my soldiers for 2 hours from North Aleppo to West Aleppo, Major Anas Ibrahim Obad, better known on the battlefield as Abu Zaid, told Fox News from his home in the western Al-Pawriya. In exchange, I gave them 5 pickup trucks and ammunition. Zaid, who said he defected from the Syrian army to the opposition in 2012, described a program that was rife with inconsistencies and incompetencies, which was rather standard of the Obama administration. Especially when they attempted a gun-running scheme. Does anyone remember Fast and Furious? Those trucks and ammo issued to Zaid by the United States in 2015, were a part of a $500 million Department of Defense effort to train and equip a new ideologically moderate force to battle ISIS. The program, one of at least 2 designed to funnel arms to so-called moderate Syrian rebels, proved to be a spectacular failure for the Obama administration. Not that most in the mainstream media would care to report on it. Guns are bad unless Obama is handing them out to terrorists, right? Zaid claimed that the main prerequisite for inclusion in the program was proof of association with a group that had fought ISIS, the Islamic State. That was followed by a few basic questions, like, with which faction did you fight? And what do you think about ISIS? Some real in-depth stuff coming from our government. Gun owners in the United States go through more stringent questionnaires than that. Zaid claims the entire ordeal was as follows. The US trainers wanted us to go into Syria without weapons because of the ambush, and said we could get the weapons inside instead. This was crazy, Zaid recalled. We refused. The weapons issue was worked out, and the rebels eventually started their journey back to Syria on September 19. But Turkish border guards found something else in their bags, Syrian regime flags, rather than the flags of the opposition group the fighters were being sent to support. Zaid said fighters charged back to their base in Turkey, demanding answers. U.S. trainers took responsibility for the flag mistake, Zaid said, and the following day the rebels continued back to Syria. But morale was already a problem, Zaid said, and fighters who were being paid a $250 monthly salary by the Defense Department began defecting. His group of 72 shrank to just 25, he said. Zaid said he, too, became quickly fed up with the program and planned to return to his hometown in western Aleppo to fight the Syrian regime. But getting home entailed moving through al-Nusra territory. That's when he called the al-Qaeda-affiliated leaders and made the arrangement to hand over the 5 U.S. issued trucks and scores of ammunition, in exchange for free passage and an armed escort home. The Americans were so angry when they found out, they cut my salary, Zaid said nonchalantly. But this was our only option through their territory to get home without getting killed, he said. I got many messages the Americans do not want to deal with me anymore. But they can't get their weapons back, he boasted of his chess game with the Obama administration and DoD. A second Obama administration program, Timber Sycamore, was started by the CIA in late 2012 with the similar aim of arming rebels. This particular operation was active along the Turkish border to Syria's north, and a Jordanian crossing in the south referred to as the Southern Front. But Syrian opposition figures say this program was also compromised, and many U.S.-issued weapons were falling into the hands of ISIS or al-Nusra. Dear Patriots, please subscribe to our patriotic channel. Like and share this video so your friends can see it. Thank you. Breaking: President Trump just made immediate order to Jeff Sessions. Yes. President Donald Trump suggested on Wednesday that Attorney General Jeff Sessions consider prosecuting Oakland Mayor Libby Shaw for obstruction of justice because she warned illegal immigrants in February about potential Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, raids, Breitbart reports. During a White House roundtable event with elected officials and law enforcement officials from California who oppose the state's sanctuary laws, Trump said, "You had 1,000 people together, many of them were illegals, criminals. And she informed them and they all fled. I mean, you talk about obstruction of justice, I would recommend that you look into obstruction of justice for the mayor of Oakland, California, Jeff. She informed them, and they all fled. Or most of them fled, and that whole operation, that took a long time to put together. To me, that's obstruction of justice. And perhaps the Department of Justice can look into that, with respect to the mayor. Because it's a big deal out there, and a lot of people are very angry about what happened. There was a lot of hard work and a lot of danger involved. And that was a terrible thing." President Trump. Trump continued, "Shaw advises 1,000 people. They're told get out of here, the law enforcement's coming. And you worked on that long and hard and you got there and there were very few people there. To me that's obstruction of justice and perhaps the Department of Justice can look into that, with respect to the mayor, because it's a big deal out there, and a lot of people are very angry about what happened." Trump added that there's a lot of hard work and a lot of danger involved in immigration enforcement and Shaw's alert was a terrible thing. ICE went on record stating that because of her, gang look out yelling police over 800 illegal aliens got away during their investigation. Now she wants to take our money and provide the illegal aliens with free college and housing and a free ride for them. Chris Badger Thomas is a veteran who served our country as an Army combat medic. Together we will make America great again. God bless. Dear Patriots, please subscribe to our patriotic channel. Like and share this video so your friends can see it. Thank you. Happening now, Mueller was just forced to reveal the scope of his Russia witch hunt. Special counsel Robert Mueller was forced to reveal the scope of his Russia witch hunt by a federal judge, who is concerned about Mueller's unfettered power. Mueller had to create an outline, detailing his plans for the investigation that has failed to find any evidence proving President Trump colluded with Russia during the election. From Reuters. Washington, Reuters. U.S. Special Counsel Robert Mueller's office on Thursday gave a federal court a classified memo describing the extent of his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election and other related crimes. The memo was filed in response to questions raised in the court in Virginia 2 weeks ago by Judge T.S. Ellis that Mueller should not have unfettered powers. Ellis demanded to see an unredacted copy of the August 2017 memo written by U.S. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein that defined Mueller's investigative mandate. Ellis will review the memo before deciding whether or not to dismiss charges against President Donald Trump's former election campaign manager, Paul Manafort. Manafort has argued that Rosenstein granted Mueller too much scope when he was appointed exactly a year ago, and that Mueller is exceeding that authority. Trump's allies have also accused Mueller of exceeding the boundaries laid out by Rosenstein, and questioned whether he is authorized to pursue possible financial crimes committed by Manafort and others. Mueller has indicted Manafort in federal courts in Virginia and Washington, D.C. with an array of allegations of money laundering and failing to register as a foreign agent, to bank and tax fraud. Manafort has pleaded not guilty. The judge overseeing the Washington case earlier this week refused Manafort's request that he dismiss the charges there. When Mueller was appointed special counsel on May 17, 2017, Rosenstein said the probe would include any matters that arose or may arise directly from the investigation into possible collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia during the 2016 election. Russia denies interfering in the 2016 election, and Trump has said there was no collusion with Russia. In August, Rosenstein authorized Mueller to investigate allegations that Manafort may have committed a crime or crimes arising out of payments he received from the Ukrainian government before and while pro-Russian President Viktor Yanukovych was in office. Some of Mueller's actions remain under seal. He also has indicted more than 15 others, including 13 Russians and 3 Russian companies. 5 people have pleaded guilty, including former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who has admitted making false statements to the FBI, and longtime Manafort business partner Rick Gates. Dear Patriots, please subscribe to our patriotic channel. Like and share this video so your friends can see it. Thank you. Trump is gearing up to fulfill a huge campaign promise on Planned Parenthood. Trump is about to make good on another campaign promise. According to reports, President Trump is considering implementing a Reagan-era policy that would enable him to cut federal funding to Planned Parenthood. From IJR. The White House could soon make good on another one of President Donald Trump's campaign promises, his vow to defund Planned Parenthood. Then-candidate Trump promised during a 2016 interview with CBN News' David Brody that, if elected president, he would cut funding to Planned Parenthood because as long as they do the abortion, I am not for funding the organization. Early in his administration, the Republican president reinstated the Reagan-era Mexico City policy, sometimes referred to as the global gag rule, that barred U.S. foreign aid dollars from going to any organization that performed or promoted abortion. What's next? The Trump administration is now reportedly considering reinstating a regulation similar to the Mexico City policy, often referred to by Democrats as a domestic gag rule. The so-called domestic gag rule, much like its global sister, would block family planning clinics from receiving federal dollars, Title X funding, if they perform or promote abortion. As it stands right now, $286 million of Title X funding goes to roughly 4,000 clinics and serves about 4 million people, Axios reported. At this point, it's unclear exactly what the policy would look like under this White House, but as one might expect, Republicans and Democrats are split down the middle on the issue. According to The Hill, a group of Republicans in the House of Representatives sent a letter to the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, in April, urging the federal agency to implement a domestic gag rule. The letter argued that the Title X family planning program is in dire need of review and updated regulations that ensure program integrity with respect to elective abortion. A group of more than 85 pro-life organizations, such as the Family Research Council and the Susan B. Anthony List, sent a similar letter to HHS in early May, writing, "For far too long, the Title X family planning program has been integrated with abortion centers. It is time to act swiftly to disentangle abortion centers from the Title X network." Democrats, however, feel entirely different about the issue. On Monday, 45 senators sent their own letter to HHS, warning that a domestic gag rule would have a devastating impact on the overall Title X network and the millions of individuals who rely on it for care. Unintended pregnancy rates in the U.S., including those among teenagers, have been declining, the letter continued. "We cannot threaten to reverse this progress by crippling Title X." More than 100 Democratic representatives in the House also penned a letter to HHS. What's the history of the domestic gag rule? The domestic policy was issued by former President Ronald Reagan in 1988, though it was immediately challenged in the courts by opponents who argued the regulation was unconstitutional. Ultimately, though, the case went to the U.S. Supreme Court, which decided in 1991 the directive could be implemented. In 1992, the Reagan-era policy took effect but was blocked by a legal challenge shortly thereafter. Then when former President Bill Clinton took office in 1993, he suspended the regulation altogether. When will Trump make a decision? It's unclear exactly when the White House might announce a decision on the domestic gag rule, but an administration official told Modern Healthcare in April that a new executive order on Title X funding would be coming sometime in May. Axios reported White House advisor Kellyanne Conway met with Trump in late April to discuss the regulation, urging the president to strip Planned Parenthood of its Title X funding. And so far, it appears Trump is receptive to the matter. One conservative leader involved in the fight to cut federal funding to the nation's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood doctors terminate more than 300,000 pregnancies each year, said it would be political suicide if Trump didn't take action on the topic. "I just don't understand why they would betray a core campaign promise during a midterm election year where there are a lot of key House and Senate races where this is a winning issue in light of the polling," the source noted.